Welcome, everybody. I'm absolutely delighted today to be hosting another episode of the new season of the series Vina Talks ND Live. And that is with what I've come to address as my friends from Drexel University, and that's the US for you, Philadelphia, who are doing some incredible research on autism and leadership. They are perfectly qualified. They're all very passionate researchers. They are perfectly qualified, as I said, to give us more insight. And because, as you've already heard me saying today or previous days, depending on when you listen to the previous sort of podcast, the new season has got this incredible characteristic, which is call to action. We want to enable every single one of us, people, tribes, people of the community of neurodiversity, to be able to contribute something. And this is really your great opportunity. Here's a contribution, call out, and we will get started, of course, in the usual fashion with some introductions. And please stay with us. You shall hear what the call to action will be. But without further ado, welcome, all three of you, incredible individuals. Thank you very much for the fantastic research you're carrying out and the motivation behind it. I would like to hear what's your key interest in terms of research are, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vina. Thank you so much for inviting us to this podcast and also giving us such a warm welcome. My name is Priya Vaidyanathan. I'm from Drexel University, which is based in Philadelphia, US. And currently I'm working on my PhD. And as a part of my program, I'm working on this project, which I'm leading on autistic leaders. And this project has evolved from a paper which I started in the initial year of my program. And right now we have this large scale project where we have a couple of papers where we touch upon different aspects of autistic leaders, their leadership styles, their enablers, and some of the derailers they face in the workplace. And I'm excited to talk more about that as we move forward in this conversation. But I think I want to end with one of the main reasons why this is my area of interest. So when I joined the program, one of the things that I noticed was there is currently little to no research on neurodivergent leaders and specifically autistic leaders. And I feel with the current neurodiversity movement that is happening and also with the spike in the number of late diagnosis, I think it's very important that we have this evidence-based research that can help the organizations understand the strengths of these neurodivergent leaders, employees, and also learn about how to support them in the workplace and also even the neurotypical employees. So it's like how we can support them in the best way possible so that they have fruitful careers.
Right on. Liza, because I can see a bridge into well-being. Can you please sort of tell us a little bit more about your own sort of research?
Yeah, thank you so much, Vina. It's so great to be here today. So I got my PhD in organizational behavior, and now I'm a faculty member at Drexel University. And in my research, I specifically try to understand how individuals are able to manage their physical, mental, and relational well-being in the workplace, which is a place that often demands unwavering commitment and discourages showing any signs of weakness or having any alternative priorities outside of work. And regard to relational health specifically, so this is going to be the quality of relationships at work, and they can really serve as a source of strength and safety when dealing with physical and mental health, or they can exacerbate issues that we're navigating. And so neurodiversity is one area under this larger umbrella that I'm interested in understanding better, with the goal of trying to create more inclusive, more compassionate workplaces, places where individuals can ask for what they need, or better yet, they don't even have to ask. And there's that sense of proactivity where individuals feel more supported. And so it's really a joy to be working on this project with Priya and Christian.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. And really, as you said, it's really compassionate workplaces that we need. happen to be proactive without people having to ask and fill out these numerous amounts of paperwork and really having to justify the fact that we're all humans and we do have some rough patches in our lives and we go through stuff where support needs to be a given rather than an asked for or I don't know. Well, you might ask, but you never get, or you might perhaps get if you're lucky and, the manager is in a good mood. Christian, before I start sort of unleashing myself into the usual podcast sort of modus operandi, can we find out a little bit more about your particularities in your sort of area of research?
Sure, I'm happy to talk a little bit about my research. Sometimes it's hard to talk a little bit about my research. I can go on and on and on and on, but I hear we only have an hour and a half for the podcast today. So let me introduce myself. My name is Christian Resick. I'm a professor of management here at Drexel University in Philadelphia, way on the other side of the pond. I'm also the editor-in-chief of a journal, the Journal of Organizational Behavior, where we publish research across all areas of the field of organizational behavior. I'm very honored, very proud to be leading that journal, which I've done for about 5 years now. So I spend a lot of time doing research, but I also spend a lot of time sort of on the other side of that, being an editor in the process and helping authors develop their work as well. I really sort of identify myself as a leadership scholar at heart, somebody that studies leadership from a number of different angles. And a lot of that involves the connection between cultures and climates of organizations and teams. A lot of that involves the leadership of groups and teams themselves. Some of it focuses on the leadership of organizations. So we think about strategic level leadership, the top couple of folks in an organization. And a lot of times people really sort of think about leadership as being those people and everything else as being sort of managers. And I sort of take a different lens than a lot of the people that I work with and a lot of the way we think about leadership. We really kind of take a different lens on that. We view that as a sort of a strategic level of leadership, but leadership really happens throughout an organization. It happens at the front line. It happens at middle. Lots and lots of leadership in organizations happens at the sort of mid-level, and we can see the struggles in managing relationships, the struggles in understanding people and the differences, the unique qualities, the strengths, some of the challenges and limitations that people have, and how we help people compensate for that. We don't hold that against them, but understanding where people's strengths are and how to leverage that, and how do we help sort of find ways for people to overcome some of those challenges and limitations, not try to work through this over and over and over again, but what resources can we provide? How do we partner people up to have these sort of complementary skill sets where someone's strengths compensate for someone's limitations or and the strengths of those people compensate for someone else. Within the areas of sort of teams and leadership and culture and climate, something I've been studying from the very beginning of my career, something that's been fascinating for me, are the differences among people. So the individual characteristics that make people unique. We are all different. We have some similarities, but we also have some differences. And I really started out focusing on personality characteristics and really taking sort of a deep dive in understanding people's personality and their values. And that's expanded over the years. And over the last probably 2 years now, working with Priya really sort of, this is the brainchild of Priya and some of the reading she'd been doing, some of the experiences that she had. She brought this idea to me like, hey, I really want to understand the leadership of individuals who are autistic. And so I've done a lot of reading on that. I have some personal experience with that. I have a nephew, and who's my godson. He's also autistic. And so I see the sometimes struggles that he has, but I also see the strengths that he has. And I sort of have this kind of personal mission that I want to see him do well in life. I want to set him up for success. So there's a meaning to this project that's beyond helping the community, but there's something personal about this for me. So I am super happy to be here and super happy to be talking about our project.
Thank you so much on behalf personally and on behalf of GAIN and our community. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you also for reaching out to us and creating this beautiful atmosphere of a two-way sharing. As we will come all to agree, and I know that already, apologies if I come across already preempting outcomes, but I think we all want to contribute to better sharing, to better knowledge, to better acknowledgement, awareness, and really being able to facilitate those ties, those emotional connections to enable people to thrive, because the characteristics are there. Sometimes the understanding is lacking, or sometimes there's not enough appreciation about what constitutes an autistic individual, or the circumstances under which they can be better supported to thrive. And, often enough we speak about language, and I think from the very little that we've spoken about ahead of this podcast, and by the way, as the audience who listen to those podcasts of mine, Vina Talks ND Life, would know by now, we're entirely unscripted. Of course, we had a little bit of a discussion as to, we'd like to speak about, your work, Priya, but we don't hand out questions. It's all organic, because it all comes from a place of a good heart. We want to facilitate, we want to make a contribution. So thank you all very much. We are absolutely honored to have you, and we'd be beyond delighted to be able to support. And this is where the call to action comes. I'll start with Priya, and by all means, Liza, Christian, do help us, do enlighten us. I'd like to hear what the research is about, in the sense of, obviously, what's the criteria for participation, what is the process, and essentially, I'll give you the opportunity to invite people from the UK, people from the community of GAIN and beyond. By the way, can I just make a disclaimer that doesn't have to be registered individuals. If any of you out there listen for whatever reason, even if it's like by complete sheer coincidence and luck, this podcast, and you would like to contribute because you know somebody, or you are yourself autistic and in a leadership/supervisory position, please come forward. But Priya, enough from me. Floor is yours. Please tell us a little bit more about the process, the qualification, and the expectations, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Vina. So as I had mentioned, our project is about autistic leaders, and by leaders, as Christian mentioned, we are focusing on autistic supervisors, so anybody who has a management position where they have either one or more direct reports. So it also involves people management responsibilities. And even before I go into the details of the project, I want to give a brief background about how we even came to have this idea and how we even developed this project. So one of the things that I want to talk about is that when we even got interested in this idea, in this topic, we, all three of us, Liza, Christian, and myself, all three of us are neurotypicals. So we recognize that we have a responsibility in our hands, that we are, when we approach this research, we do not bring in our own biases or our perspectives. We don't want that to influence this research. So we had to take care of that. And also, thanks to many active voices in the neurodivergent community, we also got to know that there are many existing theories and research that is not very well received within the community. So we also wanted to, there was always a request for focusing on lived experiences. So we decided to start from that place. And so we decided to go ahead by looking at anonymous discussion posts like Reddit, where we felt like we know disclosure is very complicated. Not every neurodivergent individual, and specifically autistic individual employee, feels comfortable sharing their diagnosis in the workplace. So we started looking at Reddit, where we found many autistic employees, they were talking about their challenges in the workplace. And when we were going through these posts, one of the interesting things we observed is that there were a lot of autistic managers or supervisors. They were talking about some of the strengths they have, how it helped them achieve this role that they have in the workplace. And at the same time, they were also talking about some of the challenges they were facing. And what caught our attention the most was that the challenges that they were highlighting was different from the challenges of other autistic employees who did not have any leadership responsibilities. And which was, again, we as a neurotypical person reading this post, it was very interesting for us. And an important piece, I think you also spoke about that before you handed it over to me. You were talking about how everybody wants to form connections and everyone's trying to figure it out. So we found that there were also a lot of posts by the employees, neurotypical employees of these autistic managers, where they wanted to understand these leaders. They recognized that these leaders had strengths in the workplace, but they were also trying to work with these leaders, but they did not know how to form these connections in the workplace. So as a result of this, we realized that this is the best example or manifestation of the double empathy problem. So we decided that this is the area we want to focus on. And the result of that was this project on autistic leaders. So in this study, for which we are here for, we are specifically focusing on how the different leadership styles of autistic managers and how their communication differences between the autistic managers and their neurotypical employees can actually affect the type of leadership they provide to their employees, and also how it affects their connections they're forming in the workplace. And specifically, we also wanted to see how leadership coaching that is tailor-made for these autistic individuals can actually help them overcome these differences and provide the leadership that that is meaningful and that can help them connect best with their employees. So this is like a very broad overview of our this current project. And we did conduct a study one already. We used an online panel service where we recruited autistic managers. And we did find support for our hypothesis. So this was very exciting. And now we are here for our study 2, where we are conducting a large-scale field study, where we don't want to just interview the leaders, but we also want to we want to share a survey with their employees. So this would be, I'm going to start highlighting the criteria. So in terms of numbers, we hope to recruit at least 150 to 250 leaders and their employees. So we are looking more at diets here. One leader, we would share a survey, which would be of around 15 minutes. And after they complete the survey, we want them to share a survey to their employee, one of their employee, which would again be 10 minutes. And as we had mentioned, even before the podcast started, we would ensure that none of their diagnosis information would be shared with their employee. So even the survey items or even the goal of the research that we present before the survey would contain no information on their autism diagnosis. And again, I wanted to highlight that when I say that we are looking for autistic leaders, there is this criteria we have, and I'm going to talk a bit more about that. We say, according to so we follow the DSM-5 criteria. We wanted to look at recruit level 1 autistic leaders. And I know UK doesn't follow levels. So let me just define what it means according to the medical model we have here, which is autistic individuals with low support needs. And I recognize this is a problematic language, and medical model is something we all should aim to move away from. And this is a starting point for us. So even though we are introducing this criteria right now, this is something going forward. And I think we have had discussions where we want to include in our paper that we want to talk about how even not having the diagnosis criteria, even self-diagnosis is valid. Going forward, this is something we hope to open up, like moving towards more like a social model of disability, and also even not having medical diagnosis as part of this criteria. So yeah, this is the criteria we have for now. So level 1 autistic leaders with 1 or more direct reports, and one of their employees would participate in the study. So yeah, as you know, To thank them for their participation, we would also invite the leaders and their employees to participate in a raffle where a select number of participants would win a gift card to thank them for their participation. So yeah, these are the broad details about our study and how we even came to have this idea.
Thank you very much. I mean, you didn't need any prompting. You didn't need any, extra questions from me. You just said it all. And really, we do appreciate it. Again, we stand for connections. We stand for connections, and we are agnostic to, obviously, geographies, cultures, and everything. As a matter of fact, we are respectful, but agnostic in the sense of we want everybody to feel connected, to feel welcome, and we want to create this accessibility. And what you said is so, so important. We all have to start from somewhere. So going forward, of course, again, as we say again, we expect members to be diagnosed, to be self-diagnosed, to be thinking, suspecting, or researching. We want to facilitate the whole array of individuals, whichever stage they are in that sort of self-awareness journey, because that's part of self-awareness, isn't it, at the end of the day? Like Liza said earlier about the relational sort of, aspects, or indeed Christian sort of characteristics of being a human who by nature, by DNA, we are unique. So what makes these kind of qualities coming beautifully together and be even better augmented, facilitated by the right degree of coaching or the right type of coaching in order to help those leaders to excel. So just to summarize, there's one survey that is said by Link. I would expect you suggesting that the respondents are better off to use a laptop or a computer, but of course, mobile phone, should anything else fail, is also a-okay. It's probably to do with how beautifully broad and everything they can see the questions. Only 15 minutes of your time. Following that, you then can get access to another sort of link that takes us to the survey questions for the employees, so anybody who reports onto you. And that is, I've read quickly a paper of yours, between 7 and 10 minutes. You said 10. I do appreciate that. Let's make it nice and round. 10 minutes. We did say also, Priya, that of course there's not going to be any channeling to diagnosis, anything to do with autism. As a matter of fact, the questions are very much leadership related. So imagine, hypothetically now, that I'm reporting to you, Priya, and you've just filled out that sort of survey. In what way would you approach me, and you would actually, tell me, Vina, can you please take part into this? What would be your outline?
Right, that's a great question. Thank you so much. This is something we also made sure, like even the communicating this research to their employee to participate, we follow the IRB procedure to conduct this research. So we had a board of ethics from Drexel University approve our recruitment message as well. So we do share that email with the participant, the autistic leader, that it's part of their survey. We share the email message that they can send it to their employee, so that even before they have the face-to-face communication, so however the leader wants to take it. So if they want to first share the email with their employee, they can use the message that we shared with them as part of the survey. And then they can also say that this is a study I'm participating, which is about the leadership styles of leaders. Is a very broad, open-ended study I'm participating in, and it would be great if you can participate in the study as well, which is about leadership in general. So I think even the message, we have a message included as part of the survey, which they can share, and then they can also have face-to-face communication with them. And as a next step, we would also be sending them an email, again, with the consent of the leader, to the participant, to the employee participant, where we would also talk about how this is a study on leadership in general, and we would invite them to participate in this study. So we're happy to even share the email with the leader if they are comfortable with that, along with the survey questions. But yes, it would be a conversation around leadership and not on autism.
Beautiful. That's exactly the bottom line. That's exactly what I was after. Because of course, anybody who's reading the outline will be thinking, we say we will be confidential. We say we won't be sort of speaking about it. But of course, when I'm reading your paper, or I'm listening to that podcast of Vina Talks ND Live, I'm hearing us speaking about autistic. So how essentially the answer is, when it comes to the point of you having completed, dear leader / supervisor, anybody with people management, essentially, qualities there, responsibilities, in other words, have completed their own part, the rest of it gets almost converted, albeit in the face value, as being questions about leadership. Full stop. And indeed, the questions, as we said, are leadership-related questions. Would we, however, know, speaking now with my academic hat on, know already in advance, is the fact that the person in question is an autistic leader. And that's, again, what qualifies against the particularities of the responses then that their reports, direct reports, will give us in order to be able to sort of see certain patterns, behavioral traits, etc., etc. Makes perfect sense. Thank you very much for that. I mean, what I personally want to say, as the person who's part of the supervisory and management board of GAIN, but also responsible for driving the individual memberships of GAIN, would be a massive, in advance, thank you to anybody who comes forward to participate, but also a very gentle yet very purposeful, enthusiastic kind of call for participation for anyone within the financial or professional services in the UK, which is our turf here, to come forward, or knows anybody from any other sectors, again, regardless of where they are positioned geographically, where they are located, to come forward and really contribute, as I always say, as a true academic who really enjoys research, is let us be one extra data point. That extra data point can be very, very powerful, extremely powerful. Christian, I can feel you want to contribute something. Please, 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 please.
Yeah, I think those are wonderful points. The extent to which you can help us and be a data point, it helps us to conduct this research. It helps us to provide evidence. We are we're academics, and we're scholars, and we're academics, and the way that we teach our courses, we use an evidence-based approach. And so we gather the science, and we use the science to inform education. We use the science to inform practice. We use the science to inform well-being and improve well-being in the workplace. And we can't do that without that one data point, and many more of those one data points. And so every data point matters. And so, those of you who might be thinking about this, the survey is very it's really quick. I don't think the leader survey usually takes 15 minutes, but I say roughly about 15 minutes. The employee survey is very quick. It's about 7 to 10 minutes. We take many steps, and this was reviewed and evaluated by our institutional review board, our board of ethics, to ensure that we are maintaining the privacy and confidentiality of every leader's medical condition. That is an enormous, there are a whole bunch of legal safeguards in the US regarding that. And so we're interested in studying the leadership of autistic individuals or autistic leaders. When the survey invitation is communicated to employees, it is a survey about leadership. We're interested in studying leadership and leadership development. And so we leave that little individual difference piece out of it. But that's sort of the secret sauce that we're interested in sort of dissecting and understanding. But every data point counts. And anything that we can do to help ease any concerns about maintaining anonymity, confidentiality, and the privacy of information, we're happy to share questions and things like that as well. We also have, I think one of the things that we've done is draft a just like a quick email that leaders can send to their employee and let them know, hey, I'd like if you could participate in this survey. A group of researchers is going to be contacting you. This is all about helping me to be better understand my leadership and help me develop as a leader. And so we have that communication there, so that we're trying to be as transparent as possible to relieve any concerns, but also to make it a smooth, easy process for people to complete it. Again, it's all about we need that one data point. We need a lot of those one data points, but every data point counts. Every single data point counts.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Personally, having had the pride and honor to meet you all individually and obviously collectively, I have not the faintest sort of doubt that that's all really, as you said, the ethics board, but you personally as individuals, as researchers, and as academics, we can be quite siloed sometimes, or we can feel so much sort of far away from the society, isn't it? You know, we are left in our own sort of labs almost, or at least this is how the outsiders basically feel sometimes about the academics. That, what do you guys know? You come up with theories and you sort of, tell us what the idealistic world looks like. No, we're not. As a matter of fact, we care, dare I say, more about the community sort of, demise sometimes. That's why we try to sort of create, as you said earlier, all of you, evidence. And we try to sort of, tell you, look, believe us, we've seen it, we've got the sample sets. It's never too late for us to contribute something more, something bigger, and something more purposeful. So once again, thank you very, very much for your time today. Time zones and everything, you've been beyond acclimatized and really sort of enthusiastic and welcoming to this opportunity. Thank you for trusting us to promote your great work. All of us being sort of PhD individuals. Priya, best of luck for your own PhD. It's a great topic. And yeah, we will promote. Call to action for anybody and everybody listening to this podcast episode. Please help these incredible individuals and all of us. It's a universal design to become better leaders and to really identify those traits, those items, those spots, those articulations that can enable humans to come in together, feel acknowledged, feel the degree of ownership, accountability, but also joy in the daily work. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for your time.